Adam Rank of the NFL Network. You took issue. You came here early.
Well, I was here early.
And you took issue with a few. I
got a number of things, if I can get off my chest.
Get into your camera. Speak down the barrel, buddy.
The fact that Gar left. Why are you sitting here? We'll do panel like the old Tonight Show.
Right. Move them
like
over.
That was one of the greatest.
Have one chair.
There's plenty of room here. We could have pulled in a chair. We could have taken Del Tufo's chair. Like, doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, some of the greatest moments in television are guys doing panel. Like
That's
Norm
right.
Macdonald, Courtney Thorne-Smith.
Oh, my God.
Like, nowadays, that would never happen.
No.
Jimmy Fallon's out there trying to recreate magic. It's like, it's never going to happen unless you have somebody doing panel.
I agree.
Burt Reynolds and the dude from Win, Lose, or Draw.
Oh.
That was another classic one.
Oh, yeah. That was
Leno,
Mark.
like the old Leno show.
It was for, he was in Double Dare. It was
Double Dare.
Mark Summers.
And
Burt Reynolds when he tried to throw the water on him and then he threw the water. I mean, that was
they did pies afterward. This never happened.
Mark Summers, don't get into Burt Reynolds' marriage history. Like,
you're
in the wrong area. You're out of your depth.
The fact that Burt stayed for you and that's where you went. Like, what is wrong with you?
Didn't he do Supermarket Sweep too? I believe
sure.
Mark Summers did Supermarket Sweep. We'll check on that and we'll find that out.
Show. And I also, by the way, I also love that you bring me on to these shows. The only time I get to do Rome, the only time I get to do Eisen is when you're there. You're like the backup quarterback who comes into the game, but he throws to the second team guy.
That's right.
Like, you come into the game, you're like, I'm not throwing it to Devontae Adams.
No, I'll throw it to my guy.
I'm throwing it to Rank because we practice together.
We know. We have a chemistry. We have a thing. That's all. So, did you watch any of the game yesterday, or I think there were two games.
I was on a flight coming back from Chicago. I was out there for training camp, but I did come back and watch a little bit of it.
Did we learn anything?
Nah,
we learned nothing. But the Raiders are good. The Raiders are going to be good this year. What do we think?
I think a lot of people continue to overlook the fact that the Raiders made the playoffs last season.
Yes, they did.
Like, everybody talks about the AFC West. Oh, they're loaded up. They're ready to go. I'm not so sure about the Raiders. And you're like, I'm sorry, the team that made the playoffs that eliminated the Chargers.
I know.
In a what was essentially a playoff game, they add Devontae Adams. They add Chandler Jones. Like, that's the thing that kind of goes under the radar. Like, we're laughing at the TikToks of Hunter Renfrow and an Uber, but we're like, oh yeah, they also got Chandler Jones, who's one of the best, most excellent pass rushers in the game, going alongside the other guy they got there. Now I'm like spaced.
Yeah, but
I've been traveling too much.
But yeah, they beefed up their team, a team that already made the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean,
so did
Denver. So did Denver.
Well, Denver was already a good team.
They were already a good team, and then they added a component to
me. But I think Kansas City, I know a lot of people, I know if Stone Street was here, he'd be upset with me.
Yeah,
but I think getting rid of Tyreek Hill is a bigger mistake. It's a bigger deal than a lot of people are talking about. I will say this, when you're talking about fantasy production.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is going to go out there and put up numbers.
He will.
Like, you look at it and
runs.
His passer rating without Tyreek Hill was over 100.
Yeah.
He had 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's fine. But if you went back and looked at that game against Buffalo,
I mean,
the reason
I don't know what game you're talking about. The greatest game that was ever played in the history of football. Yeah, I don't know that game.
But that was Tyreek Hill. Most of that was Tyreek Hill.
I mean, Tyreek Hill was like the guy who just kept on raining threes in like a pickup basketball game at like a YMCA, and like he keeps coming down, and the other guys are like, guard him.
They can't
guard him. They couldn't.
They could not. They cannot stop him.
You knew where it was going.
Yes.
And every time it's like, and not just a 10-yard over the middle, he turns into 15. Like 30-yard across the middle. I'm like, no one's seeing this coming. How is this guy dusting everybody? Put 4 guys on him.
You can't
make
stop
someone
it.
else beat you. But again, Travis Kelce, you got some other weapons. He's got weapons.
You have players, you'll be fine. But there's a difference.
There's
a difference between, like, are you a playoff team? Are you a Super Bowl team? I think Tyreek Hill makes them a Super Bowl team. I think they're good. They're a good team.
So is this the year that Josh Allen, if he doesn't get into fights with everyone on the team during practice, is this a year that the Bills can take it over the top and perhaps go to the Super Bowl, win one for the great Jew Marv Levy? I love him. The great Jew in the sky. I think he's still alive, but anyway.
He just had a birthday, right?
He did.
96 or something?
Just turned 97, I was told.
Yeah, there you go.
Hoskins.
Anyway, don't get ahead of yourself.
I know, but he's
the thing. I like the Bills. I think everything's been building to this point. Like, it is one of those things, like if you're watching a movie or if you're into professional wrestling and you're like, this has been the build. Like, we all know that when WrestleMania is at SoFi, Cody Rhodes is winning the title.
That's
like
right.
we just know, like that's exactly what's going to happen. That's what the Bills feel like. They feel like Cody Rhodes. Maybe Josh Allen should go out there, get a tattoo on his neck,
Yes.
like fulfill the whole thing.
Thank you.
But I think the biggest thing is getting Von Miller was
Yeah.
such a huge deal for them. And
I
again,
agree.
people overlook this, and it's probably because of dorks like me who are so into fantasy football.
No,
but
but-
all we care about is if Gabe Davis is going to have, 15 touchdowns this year or
right.
not. But you're like, getting Von Miller, significant, because last year when he went to the Rams, it was a perfect situation for him. It's like, listen, bro, we don't care what you do during the regular season. Show up come playoff
That's
time.
right.
And I think that's what Buffalo's trying to do.
They're like, do it when it counts.
Yeah.
We already have a great defense. We already play in a stadium and in an outdoor stadium that's freezing most of
Yeah.
the year, then make it hard to just put up video game numbers. So we already kind of have that. We tamp down your offense by coming in here.
Right.
You add him on that sort of, hopefully for the postseason run.
Yeah.
Do the Rams look, obviously they lost Von Miller. Do the Rams look like they can repeat or?
Well, I'm already starting to get worried. Like Matthew Stafford, they're having issues. Like, oh, that's the kind of the thing that a baseball player has been dealing with, and worried about his arm. Like, that's what I don't want to hear.
You don't
like,
want to
I'm-
hear anything like his shoulder
Yeah.
soreness.
What is happening? Like,
Yeah.
then shut him down. Like, there's another guy. Like, yeah, we're good. We know what he's got. You
Right.
know,
He's gonna
you
be
can put
great.
Johnny Dubs out there. Let him play some preseason games. I'm excited about having Allen Robinson out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. Like, what happened last season
Yeah.
should just be disregarded. Like that was that's a Matt Nagy situation. That was mishandled. Allen Robinson has been one of the best professionals. He's played with some of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history
And still
gone out
put up
there,
numbers.
put up great numbers.
Yeah, he's a great receiver.
I think if Matthew Stafford is healthy, then Allen Robinson puts up top 5 numbers. And I think we're going to see something special out of him. And I'm rooting for him. Anybody from Chicago, like we're cool.
Yeah.
Like Allen Robinson
You're
did
cool.
nothing wrong. Like
Right.
we're good with him still. No need to go after him.
So, I mean, it's funny. I don't know if we said this to you when you came and did our podcast. I feel like Justin Herbert is like West Coast Josh Allen. To me, very similar. They can run big. Both guys are 6'6", 6'5",
Yeah.
6'6", great arms.
Doesn't get credit for his athletic ability.
Right. And I
Herbert,
think
like he can run.
I think Herbert, I don't know why I feel like this could be a breakthrough year for the Chargers this
Oh my
year.
gosh, I hope so. Because
You hope so.
you had Gar out here, and you're talking about Mike Trout, which by the way, I love Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
Amazing
Incredible
player.
dude.
But when
Face
you
of
guys are
baseball.
saying like, stop it. If it's not Shohei Ohtani, it's nobody.
I love
Ohtani is the guy.
I'm a Showtime guy.
He's
but
the face of baseball.
Why is he in the witness protection program
He's
down
fine.
in the Angels?
He's not in win. No, you can come see him anytime. He hit 2 home runs yesterday.
I
My
know.
kids were there watching the
I'm
game.
saying
They
he's
lost.
We go. It doesn't. Who cares?
What do you mean? Who cares?
cares?
I have a set. What does it matter?
Mike
I got-
Trout has 12 career
spoken like a true
postseason at
Angels fan.
bats.
I know, spoken like a true Angel fan.
Listen,
What does it matter?
Would I have liked them to be in the playoffs? Yes.
Yes.
But you guys don't care. You're a Boston fan. You don't care. Like if Dustin
Cardinals
Pedroia
fan.
never played in a playoff game, I would have never cared.
Wow.
And it's like one of those things.
Wow.
Like
Except
I think
he has
people
3
only,
rings and
I
an
know.
MVP.
Listen, I also didn't like him because Cal State Fullerton. We had a rivalry with ASU.
David
He
Eckstein had to come to the Cardinals to win an MVP World Series MVP.
But he won his second title.
That's right, because his
He did
first
win one with
you
the
guys.
Angels.
Scott Spezio is running
Shohei's
over
the
a
guy.
highway somewhere, in
Scott Spezio,
in
yeah,
a crack bender.
We had the 2002 reunion this season, and they all came out, and it was amazing to see people like Spezio.
I'm like, Spezio,
Eckstein.
he made
John
it there.
Lackey came back.
Spezio came out on the field with just one shoe on. You're like, what's going on right
Yeah,
now?
he was an amazing player. So I don't even know what my point was. Oh, but what I hope though, to your point,
Yeah.
I hope that Herbert doesn't become like when the Angels did. Forget it. I go to enough games. I spend enough money
allowed
there.
to say that.
When we debuted the City Connect jerseys and they had Justin Herbert as part of it, and you're like, oh, don't do this to this guy, because if you're talking about somebody who could be the Mike Trout of football, you're like, oh wait, like because like everybody's just already assuming the Chargers are going to the playoffs, and you're like, I've seen this movie before.
We absolutely
like
have.
I don't want to say, and you're like. They're like, well, they brought in Khalil Mack. You're like, yeah, that guy played 7 games last year.
Right.
Like there's
Let's hope he plays all the
J.C.
games.
Jackson. You're like, yeah, like, when Tennessee brought in Butler, Malcolm Butler, they thought they were getting the guy who won the Super Bowl, and
That's
it
right.
did not work out. Like
No.
these things don't always work. I'm rooting for Justin Herbert. I'm a huge fan. I love Austin Eckler. I love the Chargers.
Love Austin Eckler.
I want them to get over the hump.
Me too, and I think it's good for the game if they do. It's nice. I think the NFL, as far as star power, specifically in the quarterback rooms, is in the best shape of any league because you've got old-time great veterans that are the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, old-time. Then you got mid-level guys who've been around, the Russell Wilsons of this world who've been around. Those guys are great and can still put up crazy numbers and still really good. And then you have a lot of young dudes. I would put Mahomes, I would put Josh Allen, I would put Justin Herbert, and a handful of others. That I'd put Tua in there. You never know what that kid's going to do. So it's like there are so many franchises. The quarterback for the Jets, if he ever stops hanging out with his mom's friends.
The second year guys, like you look at Trevor Lawrence last year, Trey Lance is going to start.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson.
So where does Jimmy Garoppolo go?
I don't know. I think you got to hold out and just kind of figure out, because unfortunately.
Who would he help the most?
I don't know. Like if he went to Seattle, I think he was probably better than the guys that they have there right now. But there's not a lot of, but also, the bad part of training camp is that sometimes these jobs come open. Sam Bradford was traded to Philadelphia a couple of years ago because an injury opened up a spot. Like, honestly, if I'm the Commanders, like, why did you spend all that money for Carson Wentz?
That's right.
You could have gotten Jimmy Garoppolo instead. I know that Garoppolo's coming off an injury, and that kind of, hurt things a little bit.
But Wentz isn't. Wentz had the most gruesome injury ever a couple of years ago. What about Garoppolo to a team like the Bears? Now, I know you don't want to curb what Justin Fields is doing. That's not going to do that. But, he's a guy that if things aren't working, he's a kind of a insurance policy almost, if you will.
I mean, that's why they brought in Trevor Siemian. They brought in the guy from Northwestern who comes in. Yeah, he's the guy. He's not going to push him. You want to commit to your number one quarterback.
You want Justin Fields to work out.
That's the biggest issue. What happened last year is they drafted Justin Fields.
When has an Ohio State quarterback worked out? But that's unbelievable prospects.
But these guys are not being drafted as number one quarterbacks. Like there have been, since Art Schlichter, there's been one other first round quarterback who was Dwayne Haskins, and then it was Justin Fields. They were not producing. It's not like they were turning out these quarterbacks who were first round draft picks who went on to be busts. They were like guys who were good college quarterbacks who weren't specifically going to play well in the NFL.
They had NFL running backs. They had defensive guys and they had wide receivers. Ohio State for
But
years
now that'll
years.
probably start changing with Ryan Day, and then we'll start seeing more Ohio State quarterbacks, and it's just a narrative that's hopefully going to go away. But like a lot of teams, like when you draft a quarterback in the first round, you should use him. Let him take first team reps. Like it's insane.
I mean, you should give it a try. You absolutely should give it a try. And I feel like teams are more willing to do that because
well, everybody was doing it last year. Mac Jones, they got the Patriots got rid of Cam Newton, who Cam Newton could obviously still play, but they're like, we don't want any distractions. But the Bears, the Patriots get rid of a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But the Bears are like, oh, we got Andy Dalton. Oh, we can't insult this guy. We promised Andy Dalton. No. Andy Dalton's your friend that you barely see, that you flake on at the last second. That's fine.
I'm sorry, Andy.
Sorry, Andy.
I remember I told you I was going
to
to go to the movies
I
with
know. I know you bought the tickets.
But exactly. You can find someone else to go with you. It's 5 minutes before the movie. Andy Dalton's sitting there with an extra ticket. Surprises this year, teams that you feel like will surprise you. Who do you think is going to come out of nowhere and have a season that will be memorable?
I would say, who a team I don't want it to be? I don't want it to be Detroit, because people are already
Hard Knocks,
on the line. That's the thing.
Hard Knocks is the curse of Hard Knocks.
I'm tired of Detroit already. Everybody acting.
Hard Knocks hasn't even started
I know,
yet.
But it's
started.
Every Dan Campbell interview, you're just saying ridiculous things. Kyle Brandt was on Good Morning Football talking about, what was this saying? Unfragile.
He had something about drowning the other day.
We're going to keep churning. We're going to keep churning until we bury you. That's not the metaphor. That's not even a metaphor.
Churning
and
until
everybody,
we bury.
They want to act they're like, hey, they were 3-3 at the end of last year. They were 3-14. That's
3-3
that's
at
not
the end
a
of the
good
year.
thing.
You want to be 3-3 at the end of the year, not 3 wins and
Oh my gosh, is Jared Goff still the quarterback? Did I miss a memo where Jared Goff was replaced by somebody? He's still there. Exactly. Okay, so why are we acting like
Aiden Hutchinson, program-changing player, and he might be, I think he has in him J.J. Watt DNA. And you watch the Hard Knocks of the Houston, and He was the guy in Houston. He was the guy who stayed after and signed every autograph. He was the guy that the kids were really excited to see. If Aiden Hutchinson can be that, and I'm saying, look, he may be more TJ Watt than JJ Watt, but like you never know.
Whatever, like that.
Even
TJ
that
Watt would be pretty good.
TJ Watt would be amazing.
I think I would take TJ Watt,
But
especially at this point.
Maybe that's the beginning of the turning around.
I like it, and he's a hometown guy, and it's a great story.
Great story.
I don't want to besmirch. I don't want to besmirch Detroit. Like they're fine.
Yeah.
Like again, you talk about wrestling. You need the jobber.
You need
the jobber that you think is going to win. You're like, he's the
guy who shows up in the ring.
Is
with
Taka going to beat Triple H? Like I don't know.
He's the guy who shows up in the ring. He's already in the ring. He doesn't have a sweat coat or anything.
Yeah.
He just has like kind of a not that glittery jacket.
Yeah,
like
just kind of comes
Dave
in.
Smith is.
But he's
his
going to
name.
get over. Like when you first time you saw Orange Cassidy, you thought like that gimmick wouldn't work, and then you're like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. I don't want that for the Lions.
Orange Cassidy is the Vanilla Sky of wrestlers. There you go.
My gosh.
How about that? People can follow you at Adam Rank.
Yep. On Twitter.
On Twitter and on Instagram.
It's Adam Rank NFL because there's some kid in the UK.
Who is this kid?
Adam Rankin. Like he's not like use your full name.
Use your full name.
What is happening? Use your full name. That's all I'm asking.
There's an English Premier League pundit named Adam Rankin, and he had to switch to Adam. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Something crazy.
Give him back his thing, but Adam Rank NFL on Instagram. And people can see you're about to go run over there and
I'm
do
going to
your
go
show.
do Total Access today. I've been doing the gamut. I did GMFB this morning.
Love it.
Came here to do
everywhere.
This. You know what? That's what I did. I was in Chicago, Cincinnati.
You're
it's
a
been a
wanted
fun
man,
time.
and your fantasy stuff is just, I love it so much.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you do. Thank you for coming over.
Oh
here
my
and
gosh.
doing
Thanks
this.
for having me. It was great seeing
Adam Rank,
Listen to these
everybody.
guys.
I know. I love these guys. Adam Rank, everybody.
Hey,
there
Hey,
you
guys.
go.